Hey guys, Starr here with She Has Clients. We are going to be building out a simple lead machine that can work for your agency, your coaching business, or any local small business in your area that you might be providing services for. The first step is going to be to build a high converting lead form. The next video will consist of building out an opt-in funnel page, and we're going to connect the form that we work on today. And then on our third training, we're going to focus on building out a welcome email automation. So let's go ahead and dive straight in. Today, I'm actually going to walk you through step by step how to create a high converting lead form right inside of She Has Clients, our white label version of Go High Level. This is one of the most important assets that you'll ever build because you'll be able to use it across funnels, websites, ads, landing pages, and anywhere that you want to generate leads in. You can also use a QR code and link that to your actual form. I'm going to show you click by click and explain everything so you can just simply follow along and build out your own form right alongside me. Let's get started. You're going to want to be on the sub account level. Then you're just going to go ahead and scroll down to sites. Once you've clicked on sites, just go up to the top and you'll see forms. Once you've clicked on forms, we're just going to scroll down to the builder because we're going to actually build out this form. Now, it's important to note that we also have surveys. The form builder is actually utilized to capture leads in a very simple manner. Surveys are utilized for longer onboarding processes and assessments. So let's click on forms and builder. So you have a few options. You have form features here. If you click here on form features, you'll be able to see how powerful our forms are and how easy you can make them. They can transform any website visitor into actual leads. You can easily build these forms in a drag and drop interface, which is what we're going to do today. And you can set up workflows that'll instantly engage with users once their forms have been submitted. So you can access real-time analytics to measure how your forms are doing and improve their performance. So you can go ahead and click here if you'd like to go ahead and create a new form. And you'll also see that we have some templates here as well, and we'll highlight some awesome features. So I'm going to close this box out. So you can also organize by folders. You can actually create a folder where you can put your various forms in a folder. It's always important that you stay very organized. One of the things that I do is I usually like to use the same name for my form that's going to be connected to a specific funnel or website. And then if there's an automation with that form, then I'll also keep that name the same as well. That way I can find everything very easily. So let's go ahead and create our form. You're going to click the plus add form button. Now, I do want to show you that we do have some incredible templates, so let's take a look at that first. You can go ahead and hit continue, and you'll see a variety of templates based on different niches. Here on the left-hand side, you'll see automotive, beauty and fashion, business consulting, creative, financial, health and wellness, holidays, home services, insurance, legal, marketing agency, medical, real estate, restaurant and bar, travel and hospitality. So these niches pretty much cover almost any industry that you can think of. And even if it's an industry that's not there and you like the way that it looks or you like the colors, you can still start with that template and you can make edits to the template. You can change the questions, the images, put your own image above, include your logo, and so much more. But look how incredible these images are. This Your Wellness Starts Here is a beautiful, beautiful form. We also have floral shop request. We have something about your career. If you're a career coach, you can use something like this. Or if you work for a career agency or a job placement agency or a headhunter, any of those sorts of businesses. So really, you get to be creative and use any form that you like to use in your business. And HighLevel has done an awesome job of creating some beautiful templates here that we can actually utilize for a variety of niches and industries. We also have your own templates. So if you're an agency owner, you can create templates for your agency. And there may be forms that someone shared with you. You can click and see that here as well. And if you have some favorites, you could actually favorite any of those forms that you like from the template library. So we're going to go ahead and close out. So now we're going to go ahead and click the plus add form, and we're going to start from scratch. I personally like to start from scratch. I'll also show you how you can upload your banner to the top of that if you like to, or an image within the form for the background. So we'll go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and select Start from Scratch, and then we're going to click on Create. So now we're directly inside of the form builder. So I do want to cover a few options with you. So when you build your form, the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the top here, and you can actually just go ahead and name your form. And we're going to build out a lead magnet. So whatever the name of your lead magnet is, or whatever it is that you're promoting, you can go ahead and name your form there. So now we've saved that. Now, to the top left, you'll see this plus sign, and that's to add a form element. You'll see these options pop out, and these are all of the elements that you can actually add to your form. It's very important to note this. So we can go ahead and drag full name, for example. So now I have their full name here on the form, and I can move that up. And if I'm going to collect their full name, I may not need their first name and their last name. So I can actually delete those fields, for example. You have first name, last name, date of birth, phone number, email, which is very important, but we already have the email directly on our blank canvas to start with. So that's really cool. And if you needed to add a button, you can add a button, and we do have that button here, as you can see. Now, you can actually collect payments in forms as well, and that's not what we're currently building out, but if you wanted to, you can actually sell products in the form, and you can also collect payments in live time on that form as well. If for whatever reason you need to collect their address, perhaps you offer some sort of services and it's a form that you're creating where you need to collect their address, you can add the address to the form, the city, the state, country, zip code. If you work and focus with B2B, you might want to have the name of the organization. So you can also put that there. You might want their website. Now, these are some very important parts that I want to discuss about the form. So you have a single line option. That's if you want someone to fill out your form and you simply want them to just provide a short answer, you would go with that single line option. Now, you would go ahead and you'll see that we have the query key here that can be used as a URL parameter to populate in the field. We have the label here at the top. So in this case, let's say that I wanted to collect further information from them. What is your niche? Maybe I work in support with coaches or agencies, and I want to know what niche they support. And I don't want a long drawn out answer, so I can change that there. And I might want to change my query queue as well if I wanted to do that. Now, you can also put a placeholder here so they can see something. So I could say health or business niche, for example. And that's just going to give them like a preview of what type of answer you're looking for. So if you want to make this field required, you'll go ahead and check required, and you'll see a star pop up. So this basically means that they're required to answer this question before they can actually submit the form. So if there's information that you don't need, go ahead and uncheck that required field, because we do want to make sure that we're collecting the information. In this case, we're actually building out an actual lead system. So for us, we really want their name, phone number, and email address so that we can easily communicate with them. And in some cases, if we don't want to stress them out and we really want to ensure that we get as many signups as possible, depending on your niche, you may not request the phone number, and you can just uncheck that required box. Okay, so that's the single line item. Now, if you want to capture more information, then we're going to use the multi-line option. And this is great for forms where you need to collect more detailed information. So for example, I might want to know, what problems are you currently facing in your agency or your coaching business? So that's the question that I might want to know. Let's say that you're building a form for a pet groomer. You might want to ask them what problems they're currently facing in getting more customers to the business or something along those lines. And in this case, we want to collect more information from them. So we want to have that box allow them to type in more information. And you can actually put a short label here if you'd like as well. And you can also put a placeholder. We are struggling with our ads, for example. So we are giving them a prompt of an example that they can use. Okay, so that's how we're going to use that. And for what we're building, we probably don't need these types of questions right now, but I do want to show you that a detailed way to build out these forms. So you also have choice elements, which I absolutely love. So we have the single drop down. We also have a multi drop down, and we have a checkbox as well as radio dials. So let's go over the use case scenarios for that. So for the single drop down, maybe I just want them to see a drop down and make a selection. So in this particular case, you're just going to go ahead and edit those options for them. So once you click on this field, we're going to just go ahead and rename this. So maybe I want to know like what their current revenue is, for example. What is your current revenue? This allows me to collect data about the business, know whether or not they're fit for my business and if I can even support them, right? And it also lets me know what some of their pain points around growth are. So that might be a question I want to ask them. And so I might want to give them options. I may not just want them to type that in. Maybe I don't work with businesses who make 50,000 to 100,000 per year. Maybe they're not a fit for my price points or my packages. So you can go ahead and just add different options here for whatever your questions may be. And for example, if I want to target companies who make 500,000 to $1 million in sales on an annual basis, I know that they probably have a staff that could support the offer that I'm creating for the business and that price point. Again, these are just examples. So that is an example of the single drop down. Now we're going to go ahead and add in your multi drop down. So with the multi drop down, you can go ahead and do the same thing. We'll just go ahead and add a question here. And then for your options, you have the option to add whatever options you would like for them to answer. And you can also enable calculations by toggling this on. So for example, they may need to put in a specific value for those particular questions. So we'll go ahead and leave that. You can have a placeholder, you can have a short label as we mentioned here before. And if you want to play with the width, you can also do that. And if you want to make this question required, you can select that. We also have advanced settings as well. So custom field, if you want to have a custom field name, this is a unique name for each custom field, and you can have a unique key as well. And so when we go over to options, we've already talked about entering those. And if you need to add more options, you can just go ahead and add the additional options for them to choose from. Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave that multi-drop question. Now the checkbox is really good because maybe I want to collect information from the business or from my leads on specific information, and one or more may apply. So I might want to know, again, just an example, I'm going to say, what challenges are you currently facing? And in this case, for my options, they're going to have a checkbox, and you have the style option to have a standard checkbox, or you can have a bubble, which I really like that bubble as well. So we're going to go with the standard in this case. And so maybe I want to know if they're having a challenge with lead generation, list building, growing their email list, traffic to their website. Maybe people aren't finding their website, local presence. So they may have a variety of issues or challenges that we want to know about. Again, in the instance of a dog groomer, I might want to know, does your dog have long hair, curly hair? Is the dog prone to shedding, or does the dog currently have matting? And it may have a series of those challenges. So in this case, we want to collect all of that information on the form. So you can continue to add any options that you need to add, and you can also delete them if you do not need them as well. You can enable calculations if you want certain values for them, and you can also spread them across columns if you want to have 2 columns, for example. Now I've actually broken this down into 2 by 2 on the form, so let's go ahead and leave that. So you can see that we can get really detailed with building out our forms. And then the radio dial option is also a really good one. So here I only want to collect one piece of information from them. So I want to know for example, what is your biggest challenge right now? So in this case, this is where you want to force them to only select one thing. And that could be a variety of reasons. Again, I'm just giving you an example. You can actually label a line as well. You have your placeholder here, and you also have your short label, your radio key. And again, you can go ahead and populate those fields and the form width. Do you want to make this a requirement that they fill this out? And we also have advanced settings as well. You can come in here and use the advanced settings. So this is going to be used if the field name is unique for each custom field and a unique key for each custom field as well. So we're going to go to the top and click on options. So again, we have that standard. We also have the bubble option as well for the style of the actual labels. And here, maybe I'm going to say increasing the revenue is a big challenge for them. Maybe it's managing staff. They have a high turnover, managing staff, and they could benefit from AI bots and voice receptionists. Or maybe they have a challenge with online presence, right? So again, you want to base these questions on what actual information you need to collect from your leads. So some of these may or may not apply. You may or may not need to use them. It's totally up to you. Then we also have ratings. So if we're looking to get a review, we can get a rating from them. Then you can go ahead and pop this in. Don't forget to click here and change your label. How would you rate us? Or ask whatever question it is that you'd like to ask. And so we have the stars, the good and the bad, that will populate. And then you can actually get into some customization with text. So if I just want to add some text here, submit your form, for example, I can type that here, and that's just something that I need stated on the form. And you can actually play around with the actual styles of the form. You can make a paragraph format, bold, italicized, strikeout, and so many more settings as far as the text goes. And then you can also change if you want it to be centered, justified, or to right as well. So you can play along with those features here. And then you can also change the fonts. So you can change your fonts to match your brand. You can change the size. Maybe I just feel this is a little too big and I want to make it a bit smaller. You can change the weight of the actual font. You can add a background color. So maybe my branding has a bit of color to it and I want to add that color. I can go ahead and add that to the background. And you just want to go ahead and make sure that code is saved here. You can actually add a border. If you want to add a border, you can do that as well. And if you want to have a corner radius, so you want that rounding, you can go ahead and add that as well, just by adding whatever the pixels are. And then you can add padding, meaning spacing at the top. So maybe I want to add some padding and bring that text down below. Maybe I want to add some padding at the bottom as well. So now I've got more space on there. So you really get to use this to design things the way you want to design them. And you can add left and right padding as well. And you can add left and right padding as well. You can also add shadow color as well to your form. And you can play with the horizontal and vertical as well as blur and spread. So there's really so much that you can do when it comes to designing your forms. Okay, so now that we're looking at the customization, if you want to add an HTML link, you can do that as well. All you're going to do is just go ahead and put that link here, and we'll go ahead and put our website. And you can edit that here if you need JavaScript. If you want a CAPTCHA here, you can add that CAPTCHA. So we can make sure that these are not bots who are filling out the forms, and that will require them to fill that out. And you do have a layout with this with a single column. You can have 2 columns here. You can have a single line that is look very nice. So I'm going to just keep my layout to my form as a single column in this case, but you do have those options of changing the layout of the form as well. Do you want a box? Do you want a line? Okay, see how I have lines at the top here now? I'm going to go ahead and leave that as a box option for me. And you can play with the width of your form as well as the spacing and the line alignment and padding. You could show your labels or you can turn the labels off. So remember how we added labels? Let's go ahead and add them back. I want them. Some people don't. So if you need something very plain and generic, you can always turn that off for your form. And you have your colors for the form. So our background is currently white. You can just go ahead and change that here. Our default color is blank, so we have that as almost like a PNG. And then your input color, we currently have a black color as well. So you can continue to play with these. And we have our background image that you can bring in as well as a header image. So if I wanted to add a header to this form, I would have my banner pre-created, obviously. I'm just going to click here and I'm going to upload that header. And now I have a header at the top of my form. And that could be any image, it could be a banner, so forth. And if you want to add a background to your form, you can just go ahead and insert your background as well. And that background will go behind your form. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Okay, so that's pretty much how you can go about designing the look of your form. And we do have our layout, as I mentioned. We have our colors and backgrounds, and then you have some miscellaneous if you want to add your agency branding. If you're an agency owner, you can add your agency branding on all forms. Then you have your themes. So remember, we have those templates. So we do have a lot of themes that you can choose from if you just want to instantly add in a theme to this form. And we also have advanced settings where you can really get detailed with the border width, the corner radius, the border color, the border style, if you want to have it dotted, you want no border, a thin line. What colors do you want your shadow to be? Horizontal blur. And you can continue going on with that. All right, so we also have source that you can add a source. You can add terms and conditions to your form as well. And you can add a score to your form if you'd like to do that. And you can just add that information. These may or may not be items that you need. And then you can add an image directly to your form by dragging and dropping that image element. And with that image element, you can actually upload an image to your file, and that image will automatically populate in the file. Now, remember where I talked about submit your form up here? I just wanted to add that text. And remember, you can drag and drop these elements anywhere on the form. I love this form upload option, so you can have them upload a form. So let's say that there's some sort of document that you need to get from them. You just go ahead and type in the name of that document for your label, and then they'll be able to upload a form directly to this. They can upload a document, which is really, really good. And then we also have the monetary element as well. So if they need to put in some information regarding that, you can do that. And I'm just going to say your income. If you need a number, you can do that as well. If you need them to put in a specific number. And we'll just say number of clients monthly. So maybe I want to know how many clients they get per month. And there might be a reason why I want that number to come in a numeric way. And we also have date picker. So with the date picker, then they can actually select a specific date. So we'll just say date services needed, for example. Or maybe you need an old date from them. When did their business get registered, for example? And then you can also add a signature if you need to collect a signature. And you can put that signature box here, and we're just going to say signature here for the label so that they'll see that signature and then they can sign it. Now, I really like these elements here that are already added in with the checkbox. And this is if you're doing SMS text. This helps to keep you in compliance because it's already written in a way that is in legal compliance. If they want you to stop sending them messages, that's there. So if you are collecting a phone number, I would highly recommend that you keep this here on your actual form so that they can check these boxes. Now let's go back to this button. This button here has different themes. So you'll see a variety of different themes that you can actually choose from. Text only, text with a border, text filled. I'm going to go ahead and select this blue color. Okay, and you can actually put content on there. So instead of saying button, I might want to say submit. And maybe I want to make this bold. So I've done that. I've changed it to a header. And maybe I want to italicize that. It's totally your call. And I want this to be placed centered. So now they can center that. You also have your font, so you can change your font style as you wish. And you can also change the font size and the font height. And if you want to have a subtext, turn that on as well. And if you want full width, you can turn that on. And you also have field width. So again, you really can customize this form to all different types of sizes and shapes. We also have the alignment again. Do you want your alignment to the left, centered, or right? And we also got into the background color of that button. We have that blue color, but you can also change it to any color that you want that matches your brand. So although I did show you the themes that are already installed, you can still play around with this and just truly customize it to your own brand. And if you wanted to change that font color, maybe from the white to the black, you can do that as well. And your subtext color. If you want a border, you can have a border. So maybe I want my border to be a different color to really make that form stand out. You can do that. And right now there's no border. So I'm going to add this solid line. And then if you want to play with the padding, you can play with the padding above and below again. If we want to maybe have our button a little bit larger on the top and the bottom, we can just go ahead and adjust that. And to the right, if we want to have our buttons size changed, you can play with the padding of that here as well. So this is how you can actually create forms right inside of Shia's clients. So now that we've gone over exactly how to create the form, let's take a look at settings. Here at the top, we're just going to click on settings. And once they submit this form, what message do you want them to see? So you can actually have them open up a URL, meaning like once they hit submit, maybe you want to take them to a landing page that has a video of you talking. So you'll go ahead and type in that URL here, and you can quickly take a preview of it to make sure that it looks the way that you want it to look and that it's actually working and it's putting it to the right place. Or you just want to send them a message that says, thank you for taking the time to complete this form. That's really easy for you to fill out. And again, you can say whatever you want to say. Thank you for your time, and we'll be right with you. You can also play around with the fonts as well and the styling of that. If you want to add a link, you can also add a link and you can put your website there. So you can add a clickable link on the thank you page if you don't want to direct them to an actual URL, then there's still a clickable link there. So that's a very good feature to have as well. And then you have your Facebook Pixel ID if you need to add that. And you could track Facebook Pixel events if that's something that you're doing. And for example, you can track if they've added their payment information for some of the Facebook Pixel events, if they've added it to cart, if they've added it to a wish list, if they've completed registration, if the contact was added, customize product, donate, find location, initiate checkout, if they're a lead, their page view, if they've actually made a purchase, schedule, search, start trial, submit application, subscribe, view contact, or none. So you really have all of those Facebook Pixel events that are possible for the system to track. And when is it going to track that? You can also adjust this based on lead, page view, purchase, schedule, search, start trial, submit application, subscribe, and so forth. Since we're doing a form for us, most likely we're not collecting any payments or anything like that. We're not starting a trial. We might just go ahead and go with the option for a lead. So you have the sticky contact for the form settings. This remembers and autofills contact details when the user returns to the same device or browser. So that means once they've added their information into certain fields, if you turn that on, that sticky information will be there and their information will automatically populate in the form. You can also enable the time zone, and you can also use GDPR compliant fonts if that's required in your area. Okay, so then once we click submissions here, you can actually see if any submissions were submitted for your form. You can see who submitted it, their name, email address, and when it was submitted. So I really like that. So then I want to show you the integrate option. So with the integrate, you can actually embed this form anywhere with a specific code. So if you want to embed this, you need to copy the code. Let's say that you have some site outside of our system. You can embed that form there. You can also share this form and grab this link and give it to someone, and they can open the form that way, or you can email this, and you can use a blank template, or you can use templates that we have already created in the system, or if you have your own template, you can use your own template for your own sub account. Okay, so you'll select that and continue. Now let's go ahead and preview this form. So you can see that it added our image at the top, and you can see that we have the questions here that we can answer. And remember, that second one is because I want to give them more than one option, right? This one only allows for me to select one option. And if I want to go ahead and select more than one option using checkboxes, we can do that. We can use the radio dial. Remember, the radio dial, we can only choose one. If we want to collect a rating, they can do that. They can also submit a document. We'll go ahead and upload something for them to submit. They can put in a dollar amount and the number of clients that they get on a monthly basis. And they have the CAPTCHA, date services needed. So you can see here, they can go ahead and select a date, which is really cool. And we can also have them check this information here. They can actually sign. Okay, so they can sign their signature and go ahead and submit that form. Now, they will need to fill out all of the information. So once they submit this form, then you'll be able to see that form submission. And remember, we took them to a message. We didn't send them to a URL, but you will have those options. So we're going to go back to editing our form here and just go ahead and save your form. Don't forget to save everything. You don't want to lose the amazing work that you've done in creating this form. And so, yeah, those are all of the cool things that you can do. Let's check submission. So now we can see that submission was submitted. Someone filled out their information on the form and they've answered those questions, and we can just see that data right here in live time as well. Now, one important feature that I want to show you is I like to use this recent clock so that I can find the latest form that I was working on. We're going to go back into that form and we're going to turn on a couple of settings that are going to be very convenient for your business. So we want to use this bell notification here at the top. I like to use that. I'll turn on an email notification. So depending on if you want to be notified if someone filled out this form, you're going to go ahead and put the subject and where do you want this email to go to? Put that information in there as well. And if you want to reply email, you can go ahead and add that and sender's name. Now, if you leave this blank, the sub account name will be added if left blank. And we also have the option for the autoresponder as well. So when someone fills out this form, you can automatically email the person what they've sent you. And so you can just toggle that on and hit save. So I really love these features. There are some forms that are very important to me. I want to know immediately that I got that form in, or if you're an agency owner, you might want your client to get a notification that a lead form came in. Or maybe if you're a coach, you might want to know that you have leads coming in. And so that's a great way for you to know that. And if you want your clients to see the information that they submitted, then toggle that feature on as well. So we have started with our first step of building out your lead system. You can see that this is a very comprehensive form and you can collect as much information as you need. Now, because we're just going to be doing a lead form in our case, you can add an image, full name, phone number, and email, and that's all we're going to need for this particular project that we're working on. However, I did want to show you exactly how to use this form and set it up because many of you guys are going to be using these forms for much, much more than just simple lead and list building. So go ahead and save our form. And if you are interested in our software, don't forget to head on over to She Has Clients and you can get a trial of our software for just $1. Just go ahead and click start for $1 and you'll be able to access all of the incredible features that we have to offer, including our form. Now, if you are an agency and you do not currently use HighLevel and you want to have a SaaS software like this for your clients, then go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom of our site and click on Become a Partner here. And if you are wanting to be an affiliate for She Has Clients, maybe you already are with our software, you love our She Has Clients software, which is my software, my white label version of HighLevel, then you can just sign up to become an affiliate, and we do pay commission for that as well. If you're already a HighLevel member and you're on the $97 or the $297 plan, we do ask that you upgrade to the $497 plan, which is what we use. This plan allows you to do so many amazing things for you and your clients and manage your business and have those SaaS payments coming in and so much more, then you want to go ahead and upgrade with our link today, and we give you some incredible resources and bonuses. So let's get going with scaling your business today.